Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're trying to get some insight into what students should do in high school to go to college on engineering. My guest today is Howard Kim. He's a chemical engineer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, Howard, what I usually start out my guests is where they went to college.
I went to Rutgers University for my bachelor's and master's, and then I went to MIT for my MBA program.
Wow, fantastic. So I want to go back in time. I want to start out, how did you get here to the United States?
Okay, I came to the U.S. in 1970. I was 12 at the time, and just talking about the academics, well, in Korea, the school starts in February. So when I came in 7th grade, I had to repeat half the year. I think that was a very good thing. That's because men tend to age a little bit later, I guess. So it actually gave me maybe one more year to mature, and then also gain some confidence in my academics. I was pretty good at academics in terms of sciences, mathematics, and so forth, but I really wasn't very good at a lot of verbal or a lot of reading types of courses such as history, geography, civics, and those type of things. Mm-hmm. But once I got much better at my academics in my sciences and mathematics, I gained some confidence. So by the time I got to 9th grade, in about 2 years, I started getting good grades. So by high school, I was getting very good grades in all my classes, even in English. Great. And Spanish and those things.
So now, where did you go to high school?
I went to Hillside High School.
Oh, okay.
In New Jersey.
Okay. So now you came here when you were 12. As an Asian American, what were some of the difficulties that you found in America compared to Korea, where you're from?
Well, first of all, when I signed up for some sports teams, and I found that I was too small to play football and some baseball. So I started taking I took some photography. Since I knew how the play goes in football and baseball, I knew how to take better pictures. Wow. So I got to be good friends with everybody in the athletic programs and social programs. And I did most of the pictures in the yearbook and school papers. Wow. So those extracurricular activities helped me get into better schools.
Good. So now you're in high school. When do you start thinking about engineering as a major for college? What year are you starting to think about this?
Well, since my dad was an engineer, electrical engineer for that matter, sciences and those types of things came naturally to me. So I was very good at the chemistry and physics and calculus and those type of things. So combining those courses, I thought of going into chemical engineering. And later on, I found out that chemical engineers made most money when they graduate. And I think the starting salary around these days is around $60,000. So financial incentive really drove me to do well in high school as well in college.
Great. So now, in high school, what's the process that you take? What was the process that you took in high school?
Well, that's going back many, many years. I'm sure it's quite different now, but I wanted to be close to my parents and in my home in New Jersey. So I only applied to schools in New Jersey like Princeton University, Stevens Institute, NJIT, and Rutgers.
Okay.
And then after I got the applications and so forth, just being an immigrant, we didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford to go to Princeton nor Stevens, so I ended up in state universities.
So the money aspect gets into the effect of where you can go to school. Based on what my daughter did, it's quite different. But I didn't know that all those scholarships were available at that time. Okay.
So I played safely. instead of going to more expensive schools, applying for financial aid, I just assumed that I couldn't get those scholarships.
Gotcha.
And, yeah.
Yeah. So now you're going through the process. Does this process start as junior year, or do you start doing this process senior year?
I mean, I for my kids, I think they my kids started early, but I don't think I started looking for school until I was in senior in high school.
Okay.
And besides the local universities anyway.
Yeah. So now, when you're in high school, how do you start picking a school at the college level if you're an immigrant from another country and you really don't know the American schools?
True, but Rutgers University had a very good reputation, and going into school, a lot of good students from my high school went to Rutgers, and a lot of the top students went to Rutgers. So that was basically it. I went along with my crowd, my classmates.
Okay, so you were following some of your friends
Yes.
going on to college.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So now you've gotten accepted at Rutgers University. Did you get accepted from all those schools that you applied for?
I didn't apply to Princeton. I applied to Stevens Institute, Rutgers, and then NJIT. Yes.
Okay, so you got accepted everywhere.
Yes.
So now, what's the decision-making process? What do you go through to choose the school, other than just the money aspect?
I believed in the university environment, and I think I made the right choice by going to university with different students. Having gone to MIT, and we'll talk about it afterwards, but MIT had more concentration of engineering students.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rutgers University had many different types of majors. So I was able to get to know English majors, history majors, political science majors, and pre-med students and all kinds of students.
Mm-hmm.
But after graduation, when you come out to the working world, you're going to have to end up dealing with many different types of different disciplines.
Right.
So I thought the university, larger university, with the whole different diversity of students and diversity of race and ethnic different races and so forth, I thought was a very good background for me to have.
Good. So now you go to Rutgers University. How do you pick from the different engineering majors that you can pick from? Is it all encompassing as one, or is there many different engineering processes?
Well, I remember, going back almost 30 some odd years now, we had a taste of different engineering in the freshman year, of electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and some other engineering courses. Mm-hmm. But naturally, the chemistry came to me naturally, very easy for me. So, and chemical engineering was probably one of the more difficult ones. So if I could, my thoughts were, if I could master more difficult discipline in college, I think I was able, I think my reasoning is that I can go on and do more difficult things later in my life.
Gotcha.
Besides, chemical engineering encompasses chemistry, physics, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. So if you look at anything that goes on in technology, after some time of reading through and so forth, you have a pretty good understanding of what is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, so what are the subjects that you end up taking at the college level for engineering?
I think up to first semester in second year, sophomore year, mm-hmm. I think the most of the classes are similar, with calculus, chemistry, physics, and mechanics and so forth. But in this second semester of sophomore year, we started taking some chemical engineering classes.
Gotcha. So now it's sophomore, junior year. What's the process that you're thinking about of what you're going to do after college? Is that the start of when you start thinking about that?
True. Even even at the sophomore level, I really didn't have exposure to any chemical plants or chemical businesses or anything like that. I just was studying based on textbooks. Even in summer jobs, I didn't have that type of experience. So we really don't know what it's like. But one of the things I learned about my junior year, somebody mentioned that it would be good to get an MBA after having a technical degree. So I started looking into it, and then whenever I could in my in college, and then graduate school for master's program at the time, I was taking a lot of electives that are catered to more management programs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I was thinking of a business degree in my junior and senior year in college.
So now, the major itself, is there a lot of men and women that take engineering at the college level, or is there a big difference between men and women?
I mean, you're going back many, many years. In my class, I think we had about 60 students, and about 12, 13 students were for women.
Okay.
So it's mostly men at that time. So I'm sure it's quite different now.
Probably equal, maybe half and half. Yes. Now, do you find more of every race in engineering? Do you see any difference in that?
You know, I haven't looked at the races in college at these days. I'm going back many years ago. I graduated for quite a long time ago.
Sure.
At that time, there were many Asians in the program.
Good. Okay. So now, you said that you took your master's at Rutgers as well. So what's the process that you take from college to get your master's?
Well, it was kind of my mistake that I had to go to master's program. That's because when I was applying for jobs in my senior year, I filled out the application, and since I wanted to stay in New Jersey, I checked off that I'm willing to travel, but I'm not willing to relocate. But and then I realized I was applying for companies in Ohio, New York, and Virginia, and then so I got rejected from these companies. So in a panic, I applied for a master's program at Rutgers. So since my professors knew me pretty well, he accepted me on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And besides, I had good grades
Sure.
going in, so I was accepted immediately. And then maybe March, April sometime, I interviewed at Merck and Company up in Rahway, New Jersey, and I got hired into to Merck. So I was able to live in New Jersey, go to work, and then I was accepted to the master's program. So, well, here we go. I started school right September.
Wow.
And then.
So now you're doing work and school at the same time.
Right.
Do most students end up doing that?
I think I suggest the students who get out of college to do master's program as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. You have the energy. A lot of the materials are fresh in their minds, and it's good to go back. Also, as a richer student too.
Sure.
You have a salary. You're making a good living as an engineer. Now you can buy a new car, and you go into college with some money in your pocket and going to school. I thought I had fun going to school part-time that time.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So now, graduate school, how did you end up going to MIT?
Well, in my second year and third year out of college, I gained a lot of work experience working at Merck, managing projects and so forth. And I think those those are very helpful. For example, we went through a lot of management variances or something like that, and I got to know about those things when I was working at Merck, and it was very helpful when I got to MIT doing managerial accounting. I actually practiced it, learned that. So having that type of experience was very, very good. Let's say I had like project management experience, and be able to write some case studies when I got into to the business schools.
Wow. So now this is one of the first times you're leaving New Jersey and going into the Massachusetts area.
Right.
So how did that all come about? Because from what you were saying, you like the staying in the state of New Jersey type thing.
Well, I mean, as an engineer, going to MIT was a major accomplishment at the time. And you know, since I was working at Merck, receiving pretty good salary and staying at home, I was able to save a lot of money. I lived frugally. I didn't buy a new car upon graduation. I inherited my dad's car at the time. So I saved out a lot of money for 3 years.
Oh.
And with those savings that I had, I was able to pay for my MBA program at MIT.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, being that you're from Korea, does your mom and dad get involved with the process from high school to college, being that everyone was from another country?
You know, fortunately, my dad came to the U.S. in 1949, and he went to the University of Minnesota in electrical engineering. So he knew what it's like to go through the American college program.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, even in high school, I just knew what I wanted. He just left me alone. He just gave me some moral support, but he
let you make the final decision.
Correct.
Did they help you in any way of picking a particular school?
I don't recall. He just suggested that Rutgers was a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I, being a good Asian boy, I listened to my dad.
Great. So now there are probably a lot of diverse parents out there.
Yes.
So what if their son or their daughter is looking into engineering? What do you think they need to know at the high school level? What they need to achieve at the high school level to go on to college and do this at the college level?
Okay. You know, of course, doing well in academics is important, but I tell this to my kids and I tell to young people, that is, find your passion. You know, you really have to love engineering. For example, I mean, even last night, I had a turntable, record player, a turntable that I bought 35 years ago. Since I haven't used that in a while, I wanted to listen to some albums. So, but when I turned it on, it didn't work. So I thought about throwing that out, but since I was going to throw it out, I decided to take it apart. And I found out that the belt, the rubber belt, rotted out. It dried up and it rotted out. So I asked my wife for a rubber band, and I put it in. Voila, it works. So it's that type of curiosity that you need to have in engineering, and because you'll be doing this for the rest of your life. You know, I do believe in engineering program because it really helps you see what really goes on in terms of, you know, cars that we have and electronics and things. So you have a really good understanding of the products that you will have to deal with in your career. For example, you know, I'm doing chemical business. If I didn't have a chemical background, I would not have seeked any opportunities, and even the opportunity came up, I would not have recognized it if I didn't have that type of discipline to begin with.
Yeah, interesting. So some of the students that are out there, What type of engineering is there for students? Do you know a variety of different engineering that they
Of
can
course, I mean, there are many different types of disciplines in engineering. More common ones are chemical engineering, biochemical engineering that I know, ceramic engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, industrial engineering, but there are environmental engineering and so forth. But I'm sorry, I don't know all the programs that are available these days.
Yeah.
But like I said, find that you're comfortable with, that you like, that you have curiosities, and find your passion.
That's the biggest thing out there, is that a lot of parents just try to push their kids in certain directions. So you're saying find the passion in you to find that particular field that you're best suited for. Right. So is each engineering like a tinkering type of engineering, where kids like to take things apart and put things back together? Is that pretty much all the different types of engineering?
Boy, that's a tough one. I would say electrical engineering would be like that. If you have a computer, you would have to take apart the computer and so forth. If you like to take apart your car, then mechanical engineering would fit very well.
Yeah.
And
but chemical engineering,
you can't really do things.
It's more just mixing the chemicals. And
sometimes I say to some people that chemical engineering is like cooking in large scale.
Yeah.
It is that you're cooking in small scale in the kitchen and so forth.
Right.
But when it comes to manufacturing large amounts of chocolates or cookies or beer manufacturing and those types of things, that is really chemical engineering.
It is.
Yes.
So someone that wants to get involved in chemical engineering, they should like something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so what type of chemicals are they dealing with? Are they dealing with just like the chocolates and the beers and
those are the easy ones. There are safe ones.
Unless you go to like pharmaceuticals, and then they're dealing with more deadly ones.
More dangerous ones. And of course, you have oil industry that's involves a lot of chemical engineering, of course. But when it comes to pharmaceutical products or other chemical intermediates, we call refined chemicals, I tell some of the students I actually ask some of the students why they study chemistry and so forth, because when it comes to chemical businesses, if you try to make any easy chemicals, then there's really no money because there's so much competition.
Sure.
So you need to make something that's difficult that others cannot manufacture, or even very dangerous ones, very hazardous ones. So that, but how do you solve it? By studying engineering. You need to how to handle and have safety systems built in and quality systems built in, so that you can manufacture these hazardous chemicals that can really kill you in a very safe environment.
Yeah.
Then those chemicals tend to be more profitable. And that's why you need to study engineering and chemistry.
So what is the type of grades that a high school student should have to even think about engineering at the college level?
The most students that came through universities at the time were more, I think, were probably A's and B's. I think the students would have a little more difficult time, because what you need in high school is, I think, you need the discipline, because these engineering courses are very hard. So you need the studying discipline or managing your time and so forth, so that when you get to college, when you have when you're not at the guidance of your parents, you have all the freedom to do things, but you need your own discipline to know when to study, when to relax, when to sleep, and so forth. So that's my suggestion to kids who are trying to get into engineering schools.
And SATs and ACTs, are they pretty high as well? I mean, do students need to have high SATs in that, or
Absolutely,
they do?
yes.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our show, and usually my last question for my guests is, what advice would you give to parents out there if their son or daughter wants to go to college to take up engineering?
I can't leave them alone. You can't leave them alone, but you can give good guidance. But like I said it before, find the passion. That's what I tell my kids. Find your passion that you like to do, studying even all night, that you don't feel bad. I mean, you may have to study all night until the sun rises. But to do that, you need to have some discipline. You need to study something that you like to do.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.